So, if you want to read along with me. So the first question, I wanted to know what they thought the point of the project was, because I had told them that it was transferable skills, that's what's in the module spec, is the learning outcomes, etc, etc. And that art gallery problems is a means to an end, but still, a few of them thought that the main purpose of the project was to learn about art gallery problems, as though I want them to go into the world knowing about this slightly obscure little pure mathematics problem. And there was a fairly even split between those who thought the main purpose of the project was to acquire transferable skills and those who thought it was both, acquiring skills and learning about art gallery problems. And in fact, with us slightly in favour of transferable skills, which is nice, but still fairly, I think more than I would have liked, thought that I was concerned about whether or not they knew about these art gallery problems. Oh well. How much do you agree with the statement, this project required me to use knowledge or skills gained in previous modules? Now the point here was that I deliberately picked a subject for the project that was very mathematically quite simple, that was very easy to take from first principles, so that it wasn't relying on stuff they've learned in other modules. The idea here being that if it's difficult, if it's something they didn't do very well on in another module, they might get distracted. The point is they're supposed to be learning the transferable skills, acquiring the transferable skills. They're not supposed to be getting distracted by, oh, I'm not very good at this area of mathematics or that area of mathematics. So I hoped that they would say no, it didn't. Now, quite a few said no, quite a few said yes. The follow-on question, please say what knowledge or skills you required. Those who had said that yes, it does require skills from other modules, the skills they listed were transferable skills. They were writing reports and they were giving presentations and this, that and the other. So no one said this project relied on a prerequisite piece of mathematics. So that was good, because that was what was intended. So then, how would you rate the difficulty of the mathematical content of this project compared with your other modules? Now again, this is related to the point of the module. The point of the module is to acquire the skills, it's not to learn a piece of difficult mathematics. The idea was this piece of mathematics was supposed to be fairly simple, and the difficult part of it was working with the others in your team, and so on and so forth. So how did they rate that? Well, they rated it either easier or about the same, so that's okay. Please rate your enjoyment of the following aspects of the project. From 1, did not enjoy, to 5, enjoyed. So, art gallery problems as a topic, fairly even split, I think. There's a slight leaning towards 4. 4 is quite high, but then quite a lot of people put 1, did not enjoy, so you can't please everyone. Writing for a technical audience. Now, I should say that this is, did they enjoy these things? This is not, I mean, you may not enjoy writing a report or giving a presentation or recording a video for a portfolio, but that doesn't mean it isn't good for you to do it. Anyway, writing for a technical audience, fairly even between liking it and not liking it. Writing for a business audience, slightly moderate to low. Undertaking self-directed learning, they seem to quite enjoy. Giving presentations, again, it was fairly split. Working as part of a team, there was quite a lot of people like doing that, but then there were a few who really didn't like doing that. So that's interesting, but I mean, it's not necessarily the be-all and end-all whether or not somebody likes doing a task, because it's whether or not it's useful to them. You need to ask them at a later date, was it useful to have learned that thing? How, in team management, I asked them whether they were a chair or minute taker, just to get an idea of who'd answered the questionnaire. How helpful did they feel the plan of work was in organising the project? They all seemed to say it was fairly helpful. That's good, because they wrote initially, here's what we're going to do. I told them it wasn't that they had to stick to this, but it was a reference point, and if they wanted to change from that reference point, they should have a discussion in their meeting and minute the decision to move away from the plan. So it's good. They felt like it was a good way of organising things. That's good. And then equally, how useful did you feel the minutes of meetings were in ensuring team members completed their assigned tasks? Well, again, quite a lot said fairly helpful. Quite a few said neither unhelpful or helpful, but there's a lean towards the positive there, so that's good, because this is an idea I got from an article that I had read that some people at the University of Derby had done this with having the students take minutes and act a committee structure. I think it's good. It's sort of realistic, and it's sort of, I'm glad that they found it useful. Right, under team dynamics, I have how much do you agree with the following statement? This project fostered team cooperation and oral communication. Now this is a direct quote from an article that I've read. That is something that this article said teamwork should produce. Team cooperation and oral communication. And the students seem to agree with that. Now I'm interested in how well the teams worked, because I'm concerned about students who get dragged along by the others, who don't actually contribute, who still get a mark at the end of the day. All team members contributed to the project equally. There was a whole range of answers to that. Some agreed, some disagreed. So there are obviously some teams where some team members in those teams felt that not everyone was contributing equally. And this is a problem of teamwork. I mean, this is not necessarily an easy one to solve. Now, they had the avenue, had they felt strongly enough that not everyone had contributed evenly. I made it quite clear to them that if somebody wasn't contributing, that should be evident from the minutes as you go back through the previous weeks. It should be quite obvious that person isn't answering their actions on a regular basis, and therefore they have evidence, they're collecting evidence that this person hasn't contributed, and they can bring that evidence to me. Now, no team chose to do that, so they obviously didn't feel so strongly about it that they wanted to do anything about it. How much do you agree with the following statement? In this project, our team members supported one another. Again, this is a quote from the literature. This is something that teamwork should bring about. Again, there was a fair split. Quite a lot of agreement, actually, and strong agreement, but some disagreement or unsure. So I think it depended on the team. Right, the next question, 11 and 12, on competencies. These were, I thought, were a good idea, and they're a bit difficult to analyse. But what I wanted to do was, one of my other jobs is working for the Institute of Mathematics and its Applications, and part of what they do is chartered mathematician, and you have to rank yourself against key competencies to say whether you've achieved a standard that's suitable for chartered mathematician. That's essentially a part of the process. So I wanted to get something like that in here, and what I've done here, these 11 points here, are the learning outcomes for the module. There are 10 learning outcomes, but I've split up work effectively as an individual and work effectively as part of a small team, because I think those are different things, even though they're on the same learning outcome. I personally think they're separate. So what I've asked them to do, retrospectively, is to assess themselves before and after the project. Now, this is slightly problematic because some students have scored themselves higher before and lower after, which I don't know. I don't know if they've just got confused, or if they've... I find it hard to believe that somebody has got worse at something as a result of taking my project. I can see that they would have stayed the same, it would have had no effect, but I can't see how you would now be worse at time management as a result of having done this project. That seems very odd. I don't know if they thought about... I don't know if they saw the question as, how did you think you were before this project, and how do you know you are now? Because I thought I was quite good at this, but it turns out I'm not so good at this, or that sort of thing. I'm not really sure. They may have read it. I tried to be quite clear in the wording.